You have returned from your pilot trip. Your suitcase is unpacked, your photographs uploaded, your jet lag slowly fading. Now begins the work of transforming what you experienced and learned into a concrete plan for making Israel your home. This transition from exploration to action is where many prospective Olams stumble, allowing the momentum of the pilot trip to dissipate into the demands of daily life until the dream of Aliyah becomes just another someday, maybe that never materializes. What follows is a structured approach to converting pilot trip insights into Aliyah reality, organized as a series of steps that move from reflection through decision to implementation. The first step, which should begin before you leave Israel if possible, is documentation. Every impression, every contact, every question that arose during your pilot trip needs to be captured in a form you can revisit later. Write down the names and contact information of everyone you met, with notes about who they are and what you discussed. Record your impressions of each neighborhood you visited, including both the facts you gathered and the feelings each place evoked. Note the questions that remain unanswered and the concerns that emerged during your exploration. Take stock of the documents you collected, the apartments you toured, the schools you visited. This documentation serves two purposes. In the short term, it prevents the fog of time from erasing details that may prove important. In the longer term, it provides a foundation for the decision-making and planning work ahead. Do this documentation work within the first week after your return, while memories are still fresh and specific. The second step is reflection, which requires deliberate time and space apart from the urgency of daily life. Schedule several hours, ideally spread across multiple days, to sit with your pilot trip experience without trying to draw conclusions. Review your notes and photographs slowly, allowing yourself to re-enter each memory and notice what emotions arise. Pay attention to the neighborhoods and experiences that linger in your thoughts versus those that have already faded. Discuss your impressions with family members who accompanied you, exploring where your reactions converged and diverged. If you traveled alone, discuss your experience with a trusted friend or advisor who can ask questions and help you articulate what you learned. This reflection period should not aim at decision-making, but at understanding, at clarifying what the pilot trip revealed about your desires, fears, and priorities. The third step is evaluation, which requires organizing your reflections into a framework that supports decision-making. Create a comparison chart for the neighborhoods you seriously considered, listing the factors that matter most to you and rating each neighborhood on each factor. These factors might include affordability, proximity to employment, school quality, community fit, physical environment, access to transportation, and whatever else emerged during your pilot trip as relevant to your particular situation. Weight the factors according to their importance to you, recognizing that different family members may weight them differently. Where there is disagreement, discuss the underlying values and needs that drive each person's priorities. The goal is not to find the objectively best neighborhood, but to understand which neighborhood best fits your family's particular needs and values. The fourth step is decision, which requires integrating your evaluation with your gut feelings and making a commitment that you can act upon. If your evaluation and your intuition point to the same neighborhood, decision is easy. More commonly, there is tension between what the analysis suggests and what your heart tells you, and navigating this tension requires honest reflection about the sources of each. Sometimes intuition captures information that analysis missed, and honoring your gut feeling is wise. Other times, intuition reflects fears or biases that analysis can correct, and trusting the data over the feeling is wise. There is no formula for distinguishing these cases, only the self-knowledge that comes from reflection and the counsel of trusted advisors. Make a decision about where you intend to live, recognizing that this decision is provisional and can be revised if circumstances change. A provisional decision is far more useful than endless deliberation because it allows you to begin the planning that cannot begin without a target destination. The fifth step is timeline creation, which requires working backward from your intended Aliyah date to identify all the tasks that must be completed before you go. These tasks include practical matters like giving notice at your job, selling or renting your home, disposing of possessions you will not bring, arranging shipping for what you will bring, notifying schools, canceling memberships and subscriptions, and handling the countless administrative details of closing out a life in one country. They also include Aliyah-specific matters like applying for your visa, assembling required documentation, coordinating with Aliyah organizations, registering with the Jewish Agency, and understanding the benefits and obligations that come with immigrant status. Work backward from your target date, assigning each task to a specific time period and building in buffer for delays and complications. A realistic timeline often extends 12 to 18 months from serious decision to departure, though compressed timelines are possible for those with simpler circumstances. The sixth step is preparation for the specific neighborhood you have chosen, which draws directly on the contacts and information gathered during your pilot trip. Reach out to the real estate agents you met and inform them of your timeline, asking them to alert you to properties that meet your criteria as they become available. Contact the schools you visited and begin the enrollment process, understanding that popular schools may have wait lists and early application improves your chances. Connect with the synagogue or community center that appealed to you, asking about membership, programming, and ways to begin building relationships before you arrive. Email the municipal absorption office to understand what support will be available when you arrive and what steps you can complete in advance. Recontact the individuals you met during your pilot trip, thanking them for their time and letting them know your plans. These early connections will smooth your transition and begin building the social fabric that will sustain you through the challenges of absorption. The seventh step is preparation of the people who will be making the move. For adults, this means investing in Hebrew language study if your Hebrew is weak, understanding how your professional credentials will transfer, and beginning the emotional work of separating from your current life and community. For children, this means age-appropriate preparation for the change ahead, including Hebrew study, learning about Israel, and processing feelings about leaving friends, school, and familiar surroundings. Family therapy can be valuable during this transition, providing a space to discuss fears and expectations that might otherwise remain unspoken. Do not underestimate the emotional work required to leave one life and begin another. The practical logistics of Aliyah are demanding, but the emotional demands are often greater, and attending to them proactively prevents problems that might otherwise emerge after you arrive. The eighth step is maintaining connection to your decision during the months between pilot trip and Aliyah. The excitement and clarity of the pilot trip will fade as you return to the routines of your current life, and doubts may creep in that were not present during your explorations. This is normal and does not necessarily indicate that you have made the wrong decision. Stay connected to Israel through continued learning, through contact with the people you met, through following news and culture from your future home. Plan follow-up conversations with contacts in your chosen neighborhood, asking the questions that have emerged since your return. If possible, make a brief follow-up visit, even just a long weekend, to reconfirm your impressions and handle tasks that are easier to complete in person. The period between decision and departure is long enough for commitment to erode if it is not actively maintained. The ninth step is graceful departure from your current life. Give proper notice to employers, honoring your professional relationships and leaving on good terms. Thank the communities that have supported you, whether synagogues, schools, or social circles. Allow your children to say goodbye to friends and mark the transition with appropriate ritual. Sort through your possessions thoughtfully, deciding what to bring, what to sell, what to give away, and what to discard. This sorting process is both practical and emotional, as each possession carries memories and associations that you must process before you can release them. Do not rush this work or outsource it to others. The departure itself is part of the Aliyah journey, and how you leave shapes how you will arrive. The 10th and final step is arrival and the beginning of your Israeli life, which is both the end of the pilot trip process and the beginning of everything that follows. The preparation you have done, beginning with the pilot trip and continuing through the months of planning gives you the best possible foundation for success. But success in Aliyah is not determined by preparation alone. It requires adaptability, patience, and a willingness to be changed by the experience. The Israel you move to will not be exactly the Israel you visited on your pilot trip. You will discover challenges you did not anticipate and joys you could not have imagined. The pilot trip gave you a map, but the territory it describes is vast and alive and constantly changing. Trust the map enough to begin the journey, and trust yourself enough to navigate when the map fails. This is what it means to turn a pilot trip into an Aliyah, and ultimately, into a life.